Well, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Dr. Fantastic's Be Fantastic Show. How are you today?
I'm doing great today.
Doing great is good. Doing fantastic is better.
Yeah, I am. I was just down at the beach, so that usually makes me in a fantastic space.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk today with Rebecca about spirituality. She lost her significant other how long ago?
It's been almost 4 years.
4 years. And did you want to talk about what happened, or just want to put
not
that
really,
behind you?
just actually I learned a lot with that because coming from where I was born, we actually keep little altars for people that pass away.
Okay.
And through that, and actually going back into spiritual work, even with that, I think it's put me forward in my life.
Okay.
And helped me heal from that also.
Well, time heals all wounds.
Yeah.
But believing in, it's what you put in your head, I think, is what's important. Positive thoughts.
Yeah, it's
really, think of the person and, you don't want to erase that person, but you want to think of them in a good light, right? And you want to keep them in your mind and in your thoughts,
Well, you do keep it. It's a different type of relationship because people actually, I believe, we have ancestors and we can actually still stay in touch with them. Because they come in your dreams. That my dad and people that pass away have been coming in my dreams since I was younger.
Okay.
And for me, it helps heal. It shifts your relationship. Is definitely not the same relationship.
Right.
And also through doing this, I had more time after taking care of him to work in some spiritual traditions that I had put down for 10 years and stopped doing. As I started doing that, I found that he would come in my dreams and guide me as I was doing stuff and help me with discernment with different people that I would meet and stuff like that, and just general encouragement, having really good dreams where he would show me stuff. So,
I wish I could dream. I only had one dream in the last 36 years, and that was a couple months ago, and I believe it was an epiphany to be a motivational speaker, to take all the talents that I've acquired throughout the years and help people see the light, to see how important every day is, to see how important being positive is.
It is really important, especially going through a death, because especially being a woman, I lost his income, and people will come around and try to put a lot of negativity around you, especially when you're alone. And a lot of doing spiritual work and just grounding myself, and even starting working back with my ancestors and also my dad and doing what I would normally have done that I had forgotten how to do helped me stay positive.
Well, if you have anyone,
think it's negative, but it's not.
If you have someone negative in your life, you have to get rid of them. You have to just say, sorry, I just can't. I need positive people, because if they're a cancer, they're going to bring you down. They're going to make you feel lousy,
So what would happen is people would come around with a bunch of negativity because I kept pictures of different people that died. And being from certain parts of the South, we normally keep pictures of our dead, and we keep candles for them. And then I knew a lot of people from Mexico that do Day of the Dead. And people would misinterpret it. However, what would happen is if I just watched people, I would just see that they had a lot of negativity around death. Mm-hmm. And so I would have to distance myself from those people because it has to somehow be turned into a positive experience.
Right.
So, and for me, that was working with ancestors and continuing to work with that.
Well, now you're coming from Arizona, where there's a lot of Indians.
Yeah.
And obviously they're very spiritual.
Yes.
And there was a book I read years ago, Carlos Castaneda.
Yes.
Do you know much about him?
A little bit. Most of the things that I've ever learned about anything has been from people that I've known personally. That were friends or in communities that I've just been around. So I didn't learn as much out of books.
That's the same with me.
And also knowing that I think there's so many different tribes. All of the Native American tribes have different traditions. A lot of my path has African-based traditions in it. However, Native American people, to me, the most important thing I've ever learned from real Native American people is humility and to try to keep good relationships with people. And if it's a bad relationship or if it's negative, I just walk away from it.
That's the best thing.
And a lot of that I learned from Native American people. Most of what I learned was about how to, actually be in a community. So, I don't know if it would be magic techniques. Everybody's wanting magical techniques for shamans and dreaming and stuff. And I think everybody has that if you start working with it. However, I think the first thing that people have to learn is how to be in a community and how to weed out the negative people that you really can't be around, you know.
Well, unfortunately, there's very little.
It's hard. It's really
that.
hard to do, yeah.
People are in their little worlds, their little bubbles. They're on their phone. They're not even communicating anymore. They're texting.
No, they're not. Yeah.
It's just and that's why I think being fantastic is a way to communicate more with people, because it opens up an engagement. When you say you're fantastic to someone rather than good or well or fine, it's something unique, and it makes them feel good, and it makes them want to talk to you and engage.
I think that's true, and also, like I said, people don't communicate. I do use my Facebook and my phone to connect with people that I know that I stay in touch with, because I have family on the East Coast. I have people I stay in touch with in Mexico. And so for me, it's learning how to use social media. I use it to stay in touch with communities that I know, and we support each other, you know, and we're friends. But I also talk with other people. The big challenge has been trying to keep the negativity. You know, you have to weed out all the people that want to be negative or want to pull your energy down. Because if you start pulling your energy up, the problem is there are people that will come around, you know, and try to kind of take it or take it down.
Why would that be? Why do you suppose that is?
I think people don't know. Sometimes I'm not sure they even know they're doing it. I don't think in this culture people really know how to have real community in a lot of cases, and how to treat people, and also they're not doing their own work. You know, a lot of people right now are having their own problems, and they're not really getting support, and sometimes they just hang on to that negativity if they're not supported.
Right.
So, and then some people want to stay in it, you know.
I think most people want to fail because it's easier to fail than succeed. And you can blame your parents and society and where you were born and everything. You blame everything and everyone but yourself. Well, it's just easier to fail.
Well, the culture itself right now, I think there are a lot of things in play that are shifting. And it makes it hard for some. It's easy to stick with the negative stuff for some people. You're right. I think it's easier for them because you really have to work on yourself pretty hard.
When you succeed, you can fall down. Nobody wants to fall down.
Well, not only that, it makes you work on yourself and really look at yourself. And that's kind of deep work emotionally, and a lot of people just don't want to go there. I really think that. I mean, because people with past traumas and stuff, like I had a lot of trauma in my life, and you have to be able to work through it in order to get to a point where you're actually going to succeed and get to that level. And I think there's a fear of working through a lot of stuff with people also. So,
well, the unfortunate state of affairs is we're really only working on 3 to 5% of our brain capacity.
That's true too. We're not able, and I do think there are cultural factors as far as poverty and stuff with people.
Well, you're a product of your environment, that's for sure.
Yeah, so there's stuff like that, a lot of stuff, and a lot of inequality, and that's really hard too. So it's compounding it. However, I'm hoping that all of this, we can all shift it if we just keep trying, all of us try to do the things that we can to become better, you know,
well, I think it's about
people.
Being positive.
Yeah.
And that's why I've started this Be Fantastic movement, because it's like karma. I believe in karma. You know, there's good karma and there's bad karma. If you can make one person smile today, you've done good. If you make 10 people smile, you've done great. And more than that, you've done a fantastic job. And this Be Fantastic movement is actually making the world better 2 smiles at a time. Because when you say the word fantastic, that you're fantastic to someone, they actually smile. It makes them feel good.
Yeah, that's true too. I think sometimes even just coming up to someone and just encouraging that person helps.
Well, smiling at them.
Yeah, you smile at them.
It's infectious.
Also,
people will smile back.
Make it a little bit about them. You know, like are
you know what
having
happens
a good day
in your brain when you smile?
What?
Well, there's neuro messaging units that get kicked off. The endorphins, the dopamine, and the serotonin.
True. Yeah,
and the serotonin, if you don't get enough serotonin, it's been proven that it can lead to clinical depression. So the people that aren't smiling aren't getting the serotonin, and it's extremely important to smile. And fantastic is the only word that forces you to smile. Good, great, awesome, wonderful, all those adjectives do not make your face smile. You know, you ever heard the saying that when you're feeling down, paint a smile on your face? You know, force yourself to smile? Well, every time you smile, you're going to feel better and live longer, because that smile releases stress in your body.
That's true. Another thing is working on yourself so that you actually know within yourself what makes you smile. Like if you're alone, I mean, there's music that I like if I start getting in a really bad mood or something that I'll put on, I know what to do to bring myself up. So that's part of the work that people do, you know, when we're alone. You know, you have to kind of know what it is that you need so that you can keep yourself in a good space.
And that's one of the things I say is you come first.
Yeah.
Not your spouse, not your kids, not your friends. You have to make yourself happy, then you can make other people happy.
Well, you can't do anything for anybody else if you're not where you need to be.
Correct.
You can't help anybody else.
Correct.
And there are times in your life, like there are times in my life I've helped a lot of people and did things, you know, that normal people do. It's just normal if you're in a community. And then sometimes I have to pull back and kind of restore my energy and do things for myself. You have to know when to do that because there are times you really have to do that, you know?
Yes, of course.
So, and you have to kind of know what it is if you really want to get yourself in that state of mind, how to bring yourself up, you know, find the things that you like. So, yeah, you have to know who you are and you have to work on yourself and give yourself the things so that you can keep yourself healthy and in a good space.
The analogy I like to use is when you're in an airplane, the stewardess says if the oxygen mask drops, put it on yourself first, then help others. I have to use that analogy.
I mean, it's one of those things because when you work, because I've seen a lot of stuff because I did a lot of work, volunteer work with immigration and living on the border. I've seen a lot of stuff that's pretty depressing. And it's sad, and and you've got to go through the feelings because if you don't feel it, there's something wrong with you. And there are times, you have to be able to say, okay, right now I've been depleted, I'm going to pull back because I can't do it anymore, And that's when you start bringing in that stuff to help pull yourself up, because you can't even do stuff like that really and be effective.
Right.
There's not much you can, especially working. I mean, most Americans I know are working, or else if they're not working, they're looking for jobs, So there's a whole struggle going on with income, and then you've got personal things that people are going through, So, and it's a good thing to be able to help people and do things for other people, but there are times that you have to pull back.
Yeah.
There really are.
Yes, I agree.
Because once you lose that energy and you start to getting depleted and you're not functioning, at some point, you're not going to be able to do anything to help anybody else. You just won't be able to. It doesn't work. And I think that especially a lot of women are used to being so nurturing, and I am, a nurturing person. And, women are always, we do most of the work in the world sometimes. And, you have families and stuff, especially for women, got to have that time to get back and do your own way. And sometimes spiritual work in whatever tradition or path you're in helps bring that back in and can help restore your energy and your soul. It's just, and it makes you stronger. And it works emotionally and mentally and physically. So
how did you get all this wisdom inside you?
I don't know if I have a lot of wisdom. I don't feel like a wise person. I've been through quite a lot.
Well, you're saying a lot of wise things right now.
Well, I mean, it's just life experience. I've been through a lot in my life.
Well, that's what I always say is that you really don't appreciate life till you hit 50 years old, experience death in the family, or travel extensively. Most people, I'm saying the majority. I got it early because I was orphaned at 9, fostered at 10, at 17.
Well, see, I've been through so much. I don't even want to go through that. That would be a whole different interview in my life. You learn that. I mean, you're going to either learn it or you don't make it, really. Not really. I'm just now picking up artwork and I had in spiritual stuff in a better way and be able to do it more because I took care of my partner when he was sick before he passed away. And I did a lot. I mean, there's just a lot I've been through way back in my life. I don't even want to go through all of that. But you just learn. But I've run into people in my life that were spiritual that have been willing to help me, but I've never really got. Some things I got out of books, but to really do spiritual work is a lot deeper than on a printed page.
You have to know people. You have to meet people.
You have to be able, and that's part of being able to talk to people and get out and actually communicate with real people.
Right.
What you were just talking about. So.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a big
part.
Well,
I'm having a time of my life right now talking to people like yourself hours a day and telling the young people that they really need to look at life and not plan on retirement. You know, live the day. Don't think about yesterday.
Yeah.
And live for the day, because we don't know how many days we have.
I think it's important. That's a good attitude. You have to think that way.
Well, unfortunately, the way the system's set up is, as soon as you're done with school, you got to go to work your 9 to 5, so you can have 2 days off to mow the lawn, clean the house, buy the groceries, and get ready for the next 5 days. That's not living. That's existing.
That's existing, and it's really hard. I've found it's really interesting to actually try to do all the stuff that I'm catching up on around a full-time job. I'm still working.
Oh, yeah? What do you do?
I work at a bookstore.
Oh, the bookstore, that's right.
And the thing about it is now my hours are all over the place, you know. And everything I'm doing, because I've always learned all my life on my own. And so I'm still studying stuff when I go home. I'm trying to do artwork when I go home. I'm going to the gym so that I'm healthy enough to do all of this and hold down a full-time job and support myself. And it's a challenge. I mean, because you're right, the way the system's set up, it does not make it easy. It's definitely hard. And somehow I'm doing stuff, and I don't know how I'm doing it. I could not tell you how I've managed to get anything done. I just keep working on a little bit every day. I mean, it's just every day I get up, I'm like, well, I didn't get as much of this as I want, but I got some of it done. And then I just keep working on it.
Day by day.
Yeah, that's how you do it. You just get up every day and do it. And I schedule stuff around my job.
I talk to a lot of people, and a lot of people have dreams, and a lot of people aren't accomplishing their dreams. So I tell them, what do you want to do? And they say, I want to write. Well, here's what you do. Write 5 minutes a day. Yeah. That's your goal.
Yeah.
Start small, baby steps. Like What About Bob, the movie. Write 5 minutes a day, and if you write every day 5 minutes, that's 150 minutes a month. And it adds up, and then you're going to want to write more because you're enjoying it, because that's something you want to do.
Yep.
But you have to start with very small goals.
You just start, and then you keep building on it. And after a while, if you do it long enough, you build a foundation. And you can actually do it. It just takes a little bit of time when you're working all the time. But it doesn't mean you should stop.
Right.
I mean, you get sick in between or something happens, you give yourself that time to rest, and eventually I'm figuring out how to do it. You just do a little bit every day, like you said. You just keep working on it. And then after a while, you get more and more disciplined about it, too.
That's right.
And you have to keep a discipline. Even if you're working hours, what happens is I end up having to do stuff around a crazy schedule. But there are things that I have to get done around that schedule every week. And I'm not out in bars, I'm not drinking, I'm not doing drugs, you know. I might go to a movie and I go to concerts and see music, and that's it. Because I have to be disciplined about what I'm doing.
Right.
That has to be a priority.
Well, it's setting goals, it's setting, stages,
So that's all I can really tell you at this point.
Well, that's a lot.
I mean, I've never really had a lot of money so that I could just kick back and say, oh, I'm going to study this and I don't have to work. I've always had to work all my life.
Well, you appreciate more things when you work for it.
Yeah, I just keep doing a little bit every day, and I am actually moving forward. I've actually made some personal goals. So,
congratulations.
Well, thank you.
It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Well, thanks. I feel like I'm not that interesting, but thank you.
Well, I think you're very interesting, and I think you've got a lot of knowledge, and I think people need to listen to podcasts like this in order to, look at life and, take themselves out of their little day and see how other people think. And I'm opening up a lot of people's eyes every day with my little philosophies and my wisdoms, because I've worked in a lot of different trades and went around the world. And that's
wonderful.
And I've had a great life, and I want other people to have a great life.
I want to, yeah. And I tell people not to give up.
You got it.
Because, man, you feel like it sometimes, that whatever you do, don't give up.
Don't give up, no.
Never give up.
Quitters never win, and winners never quit.
I mean, sometimes you're going to feel like it, but just whatever you do, don't, because it feels great.
Yeah.
It makes you feel so much better. After a while, you start feeling the difference, You wake up feeling better, even no matter what's going on. So.
Well, I started this uplifting interviews with total strangers on YouTube with one interview, and I've got 430 interviews now.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's really, thank you.
One at a time.
I'm so glad I met you today.
I'm glad.
Thank you.
It's all about destiny. You're supposed to meet the right person at the right time.
I believe that.
And,
yeah.
But the problem with most people is they have blinders on, and they don't want to talk to strangers. They sit next to someone on an airplane for 8 hours, and they don't say hello.
Yep.
And there's a reason. You're never going to grow if you don't talk to people.
You have to talk to people. You do need some discernment when you talk to people. And once you develop some discernment and you feel strong in yourself, then you can at least say hello to people. That's all you really have to do. I mean, you know, and then you can discern when you're talking to that person how that's going to go.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
To get to that point for a lot of people is even a leap. So I can just say, just don't give up. Just keep trying. So, yeah.
One of my sayings on my channel is, your life is your movie, and you're the star of your movie, and you're the director of your movie. And you need to direct every scene, every day in your movie to be fun, entertaining, educational, motivational, you know, worth watching, like in a good movie.
Exactly.
But it's up to you.
It's up to you.
No one's going to make that good movie for you.
Yep.
You have to direct it yourself. And if I'm driving along and someone's in the back seat and they're not talking to me, it's a bummer for me. It's a bad scene. It's a waste of film. It ends up on the cutting room floor in my movie, and I don't like it.
Yep, exactly.
I feel like telling them, listen, you're in the wrong cab.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So life is a movie. Make it a great one.
Well, thanks. I appreciate it. Thank you.
And thank you for being my first guest on the podcast.
You're welcome. I had no idea.
You had no idea, and there's always a first again.
Okay. Gracias.
Rebecca,
Thanks.
you're the best.
Okay.
Be fantastic now. Now,
Okay.
how are you now?
I'm fantastic.
Okay, because you started out great, I think, or good.
Okay.
You got to be fantastic.
Okay.
It's the first day of the rest of your life.
Okay.
Be fantastic every moment.
Alrighty.
And you'll never be forgotten.
Okay.
You'll live longer, and you'll be happier.
All
and
right.
you'll make the world a better place. Everybody, be fantastic. Bye-bye, everyone.